Hello. Today on Luck Boys videos, I'm going to talk about 1967, precisely 8th August 1967. That was the day ASEAN, or Association of Southeast Asian Nations, was inaugurated in Bangkok, Thailand. Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand got together as the five founder members of the ASEAN society at that time. As you know, ASEAN is a very fast growing economic region. Most of its nations are quite high in the development index. They have high economic prosperity. Most of the highly developed nations in the Asian region are part of the ASEAN group. So when these five countries were getting together in Thailand to inaugurate the ASEAN, a little known fact is that there was a sixth nation that was supposed to be part of that inauguration. The country's name was on a dotted line. That country was Ceylon or Sri Lanka. The reason was that the Malaysian prime minister at that time had an understanding with the prime minister of Sri Lanka that although Sri Lanka was peripherally outside the geographical boundaries of the true ASEAN region, because of an understanding between Malaysia and Sri Lanka, Malaysia was supporting Sri Lanka's application to join ASEAN as a founder member, and it is said that Thailand was also in support of that motion. Because of that, the five nations were waiting Sri Lanka's application to come through in Bangkok on 8th August 1967 to admit Sri Lanka as the sixth founder member of the ASEAN organization. However, curiously, Sri Lanka's application never arrived, and the five countries decided to start the organization without Sri Lanka, and that's how the ASEAN organization started. And then by 1980s, almost all the Asian members became newly industrialized countries and developed quite further in the development index. And even today, other than probably Myanmar and Laos, all the other countries in the Asian group are quite economically prosperous countries of one of the fastest growing economic regions in the whole world. Now, it's interesting to find out why did Sri Lanka initially wanted to join ASEAN, but at the end declined to join and did not even submit their application. The Sri Lankan High Commissioner for Singapore at that era, Mr. Gunasingham, has provided some explanation of his thoughts why this has happened. His idea was that although the government of Prime Minister Dudley Senanayake, who was from the UNP, wanted Sri Lanka to join the ASEAN, the Prime Minister was wary of the troubles and the challenges from the leftist political leaders and the political parties against this. Now, it has to be noted that although Dudley Senanayake was a Prime Minister from the United National Party, the UNP, he is also seen as a true gentleman and a mild-mannered politician that Sri Lanka has rarely seen. In fact, he resigned his prime ministership in 1953 when some protesters died under his watch in the 1953 Hartal. So because of that, it can be insinuated that Dudley Senanayake did not want to see trouble in the country, and simply to avoid the trouble, he thought of selecting the path of least resistance and not to put forward the application for the ASEAN region. In fact, the leftist parties that those days were quite powerful. Those leftist parties those days were able to contest against the two major parties and win their own electoral seats handily. Quite a few areas in the country. Unlike getting 3 or 4% votes right now and agitating, they were truly a force to reckon with in the political arena in Sri Lanka. So truly, the threat was there that if they could disrupt the country if Sri Lanka decided to join the ASEAN region. However, when you look back at the history now, coming from today's vantage point, had Sri Lanka joined the ASEAN group as a founder member, given the economic prosperity Sri Lanka already had in the 1960s, Sri Lanka could have well also become a newly industrialized country by 1980s and could have become a much more economically prosperous country by that time. So in that sense, Sri Lanka's reluctance to join the ASEAN group in 1967 can be considered as a missed opportunity in that sense. In fact, when Prime Minister J.R. Jayawardena, who later became President J.R. Jayawardena, came into power in 1977, he actually tried to reapply and readmit Sri Lanka into the ASEAN group in 1977-78 era. However, by that time, because of the 1970 to 77 economic debacle, since Sri Lanka's economy was in such bad shape, the ASEAN group decided not to accept Sri Lanka's application to the ASEAN group at that point of time. So in 1967, it was an automatic acceptance because it will be a founder member status, but in 1977, it was rejected. So when you look at that, it looks like a missed opportunity. So I think it is something that you can it is something that you can consider as seen lost economic opportunity and a developmental opportunity for Sri Lanka. And who knows, had Sri Lanka become part of ASEAN, we would not be having this conversation today in these circumstances. Again, this might be a controversial point. You might agree or disagree or agree to disagree. Please feel free to subscribe, like, and comment either on the Luck Voice Canada YouTube channel or Luck Voice Canada Facebook group. Engage in a conversation. Maybe if you want to dive deep into this matter, we can discuss further. Or if you like to discuss any similar topics, we would like to have those ideas and present and share those ideas with you in the coming weeks and months. Thank you.